Hi, this is Anime Pulse Recap. In a world full of magic, our main character, Mashle, has no magical powers, but he has muscles and discipline. This is Mashle's father, Regro. He isn't Mashle's biological father. Regro leaves the house for work and tells Mashle not to go into the city. However, Mashle wants some cream puffs, so he goes to buy them. In the city, people quickly notice that Mashle has no magical powers because he doesn't has the lines on his face that signify the magic powers. After getting his cream puffs, Mashle encounters police officers, but Regro quickly gets them both back home safely. At home, Regro scolds Mashle for what he did. Soon after, Brad uses his magic powers to find Mashle home. Mashle enters the house and defeats everyone using his physical strength. Then he tells Brad to leave his father alone and not to hurt him. Brad uses his most powerful magic attacks, but Mashle easily dodges them and even toys with them. Finally, Mashle throws a stick at Brad, scaring him off. After being defeated, Brad tells Mashle to enter the magic school so everyone will accept him. Mashle agrees because he wants to be free with his dad and also wants easy access to cream puffs. The next day, Mashle goes to take the exam at the magic school. Claude, a top and well-known student, acts as the interpreter for the exam. In the first exam, Mashle scares the letters by breaking the stick, and they arrange themselves correctly. As the exams go on, Mashle uses his physical strength to complete them. The final exam is to escape from the labyrinth. Here, Mashle meets a girl named Lemon, who wants to follow him because she is scared. But she is foolish fool, because she tries to lock Mashle by putting cuffs around his arms and legs. Feeling betrayed, Mashle breaks the cuffs, runs, and leaves Lemon alone. Mashle returns and saves Lemon by punching the Egyptian god-like figure in the face. Using his fists, Mashle finishes the third exam by crushing every wall to get out of the labyrinth. It seems that Claude ordered Lemon to get Mashle out of the exam. She says she didn't do it because Mashle loves her. Mashle immediately denies this, but she still believes he loves her and just doesn't want to admit it. Mashle crushes Claude's wand because he was going to use it to hurt them. The principal, Wahlberg, sees this and takes Mashle away with him. Wahlberg tests Mashle by putting his father's soul into a doll and warning that if the doll is harmed, the soul will be lost forever. Mashle puts his hand to protect the doll from the metal arrow that was going to pierce it. Mashle is now accepted at the magic school because of this act. This guy named Finn is Mashle's roommate. Mashle gives him a cream puff, and they become good friends. Finn tells Mashle that if you collect more coins, you can rise to the top of the magic school. A student named Lloyd greets Mashle.
Better set the class, bully! Ha ha ha!
Since Lloyd knows some powerful people at the magic school, he can get other students expelled just because he wants to. Lloyd orders Mashle around, and Mashle does whatever he says. But when Lloyd hurts Finn, Mashle grabs his face and pushes it into the ground 10 times. After seeing this, Lloyd's strong friend in the ranks says that Mashle and Finn will be expelled from the magic school. Hearing that, Mashle kicks him in the face with his knee, opening a hole in the ground and burying him. From this action, he is sent to Principal Wahlberg. Wahlberg tells Mashle that he did the right thing because they were abusing their power. A guy named Tom asks Mashle to play a game with him, and Mashle wins. From this, Mashle receives a silver coin. While spending time with his friends, Mashle is challenged by Lance, a strong magician, to a fight. To force Mashle, Lance traps his friends inside a bottle and tells Mashle to battle him. If Mashle wins, he will receive 2 silver coins. Lance has 2 black lines on his face, showing he has stronger magic than those with one line. More lines mean more power. The fight begins with Lance showing his magic ability, Gravial, which lets him use gravity against Mash. But for Mash, this is just like regular training. During the fight, Lance's necklace ends up in Mash's hands. When Mash opens it, he sees a photo of a young girl inside. Seeing this, Mash thinks Lance is a lolicon and considers calling the police. Lance denies this and tells Mash that he has a sister complex. Mash quickly checks Lance's pockets to find the bottle that his friends are trapped inside. Lance has a flashback about his sister and ends the match as a draw, giving Mash only 1 silver coin. In this magic school, there are 3 teams: Adler, Orca, and Lang. Mash and his friends, including Lance, are from Team Adler, and so, a battle between the 2 rival teams begins. Adler students vs. Lang students. One energetic fellow named Dot introduces himself and says he will become number 1. Dot is envious of how Lemon treats Mash. A teacher explains that in the forest, there will be different scorpions with stones on their heads, which will be worth either silver or bronze coins. As soon as the exam begins, Mash gets lost in the forest. When a girl is about to be hurt by a guy and screams for help, Dot appears and helps her. The girl uses all her cuteness to make Dot nervous and awkward, but Mash doesn't pay any attention to her. She tells them about a guy named Sylvia who insults her. Hearing this, Dot decides to help her. Sylvia tells Dot that if he survives 10 hits from his iron magic, he will leave the girl alone. Unfortunately, Dot doesn't survive the pain and falls to the ground. The girl exposes herself and reveals that she was a Godon traitor all along. Mash throws his cream puff at Sylvia's mouth and decides to take on the challenge of enduring the 10 hits from the iron magic. Mash successfully endures the 10 hits and then crushes Sylvia's face using his so-called triceps magic, which is pure physical strength. He also gives the girl a punishment because Mash believes in gender equality. After the exam finishes, Lemon asks Dot if he needs to be healed. Dot gets weird again and thanks Mash for what he did. Mash replies, "I didn't do it for you." And so they become good friends. From defeating a scorpion earlier, Mash gets a gold coin and shows it to Dot, who is mocking Mash. The next day, while walking through the school, Mash accidentally breaks Lang Team's door. Mash asks the guy holding a doll, named Abel, why he is talking to the doll. As soon as Abel learns that Mash has a gold coin, he tries to take it from him. Mash leaves, helping Sylvia to the infirmary. Shortly after Mash leaves, Abel realizes he doesn't have the gold coin, just one of the doll's buttons. While the boys are eating cream puffs and talking, Lemon comes and tells them about the number of gold coins each team has. Mash thinks about getting some gold coins from the Lang team, but then remembers he has a punishment for what he did to the vice president. He has to take care of the owl for a week. Lance also offers to help Mash if he gets into a fight with Lang members. The owls either really love Mash's head or really hate him. 2 Lang team members try to beat Lance and Mash but fail, giving the Adler team more gold coins. A masked guy shows up and takes the 2 Lang team members with him. Both Mash and Lance are unable to land a hit on him. The next day, many students can't use their magic and feel sick. Lemon gifts Mash a cream puff lady and wants him to think of her whenever he sees it. She tells him not to think of naughty things. Later that day, Lemon is turned into a doll. Lance, Mash, Finn, and Dot try to follow her to see where she is going. They end up at a wall, but Lance uses his magic and discovers an underground door that he can't open. So, Mash takes a metal soldier's armor and uses its sword as a lever to force the door open. Doing so, they encounter a red-haired guy from the Lang team, who has a fan club of adoring girls. Dot enters the fight with him because he hates handsome boys. The fight ends quickly, with Dot winning the match. But then suddenly, they are transported through mud by someone's magic to different places. Lance ends up facing Worth, a member from the Lang team. Dot and Finn face off against Love and Milo. Mash fights against the masked guy. The masked guy's name is Abyss. And so, the fighters are chosen. With his magic power, Rith can control mud however he wants. He summons a devil monster out of mud. Lance uses his most powerful magic, Gravial Second, which destroys all the mud, making him the winner. Meanwhile, Abyss has the power of the Evil Eye, which allows him to remove magic from those he sees using it. Plus, he can use magic such as Accelerate, which lets him place arrows on objects in a sphere to make them faster or slower depending on the arrow. But compared to Mash's brute force and physical strength, Mash is able to beat Abyss. After defeating Abyss, Mash tells him they should become friends and eat cream puffs someday. Then he leaves to Abel to free Lemon from the doll magic. As Mash and Lance won their fights, it's now time for Dot and Finn to fight against Milo and Love. Love thinks she can beat both Finn and Dot alone, so Milo leaves her. She starts attacking, using her magic power to create tornadoes. Hurt by Love, Dot is trapped inside one of her tornadoes. To her surprise, Dot has a cross power that lets him raise his magic power even more, turning him into a battle demon. But this only happens when his emotions rise. Still, Dot doesn't hurt Love, but simply warns her to stay away and not fight against him. Suddenly, Milo decides to appear, since Love was defeated. Milo's magic allows him to manipulate rock however he wants. Milo is then defeated by a single sword. The one who did that was Rain Ames, Finn's brother, who is always the current top student in this magic school. He damaged Milo by using his magic power, which allows him to summon as many swords as he wants and move them too. Rain even hurts Milo by kicking him to get some information from him. Then he leaves, only to meet Mash. He thinks Mash might be an enemy, so he attacks him to see if he's the one Rain is looking for. But then, using his companion Spider, Rain understands that Mash isn't the one he's looking for, since Mash doesn't have magical power. Rain gives Mash a magical tissue to heal the wounds. Mash, confused, asks if he likes rabbits since the tissue has rabbits on it. Rain gives Mash a stare. Then Mash says thank you, and Rain leaves. Finally, Mash finds Abel and asks him for Lemon. Abel doesn't tell Mash where Lemon is. Instead, he sends Mash a bunch of dolls, but Mash wrecks them all. Abel turned Finn into a doll and uses him to attack Mash. Mash hits Abel hard in the face. Abel uses his strongest magic, Marionette Second, to summon a giant three-headed doll. Despite the giant doll summoned by Abel's powerful magic, Mash overpowers it with his raw strength. He destroys the doll and rescues Lemon. Mash saves the day. Hip hip hooray for Mash, Lemon, and Finn, and for Dot too. Meanwhile, a new villain appears. It is Cell, the one Rain was looking for. He is part of an evil organization. Cell leaves Rain and goes straight to Abel. As soon as Cell arrives, he tries to kill Abel, but Abyss intervenes and takes the hit. Mash then gives him the magical tissue that Rain gave him earlier. Mash then fights against Cell, and Abel also helps him. Cell decides to use a mirror magic reflector against Mash because he thinks Mash has great magical power. The purpose of the mirror is to send the magic back to the user. Mash smashes the mirror with his legs, revealing to everyone that he doesn't use magic. Cell then leaves, and Mash tries to lie, claiming that he uses magic. His friends agree to keep his secret, but another student overhears that there's a student in the magical school who doesn't use magic. Then Season 1 ends with Mash enjoying his favorite cream puffs. We've reached the end of the video. If you enjoyed the recap, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and feel free to comment if you want a recap of Season 2 of Mashle. Until then, I'll see you next time.